This video will be titled Live a Disciplined Life Spontaneously. It's inspired by an article from the words of Naval Ravikant, and I actually read this article the first day of every month, if you can believe it or not. I put a reminder in to read this article once every month. That's how powerful this article is and how much it resonates with me no matter what stage of life I'm in. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to read the article verbatim right now, and it's not too long. It's maybe like 4 minutes, 5 minutes max, and I could just summarize it right now, but I do think it's worth it to actually go through this article, because everything this article says really hits home. And if you're like me, you're somebody who, like a lot of people, wants the disciplined lifestyle. Whatever it is that you're doing, you just want to be disciplined doing it. But also you want to be spontaneous. You want to be a human being. You want to have fun. You want to go on adventures. You want to be curious. You want to be with your friends. You want to be with your family, etc., etc., etc. How do you go about having both of them? Now, right away, the title is very contradicting, right? It's saying live a disciplined life spontaneously, right? Those things don't go together. That's what you think. But in this article, you'll see why it all makes sense. So let's get into it. Discipline and spontaneity. Two words that don't usually belong in the same sentence. Discipline implies routine, order, control, a life mapped out with checklists and calendars. Spontaneity suggests freedom, flow, acting on instinct, moving with the moment. To most people, these ideas feel like opposites. You're either the kind of person who wakes up at 5 a.m., journals, works out, and checks off tasks, or you're the kind of person who follows curiosity, lets the day unfold, and resists structure because it feels like a cage. But the truth is, real freedom lies at the intersection of both. Live a disciplined life spontaneously sounds like a contradiction until you realize discipline creates the conditions for spontaneity to thrive. Discipline is the frame, spontaneity is the art. Imagine a jazz musician. He plays wild, beautiful, unpredictable notes, but behind that freedom is a deep foundation of skill. Scales practiced, rhythms internalized, hours of structured repetition. It's only because of that discipline that he can improvise so well. The same is true for martial artists, writers, athletes, and even entrepreneurs. What looks like effortless brilliance in the moment is almost always built on a quiet, invisible bedrock of structure. If you want to live spontaneously, to seize unexpected opportunities, follow your energy, or create freely, you need discipline to handle that freedom. Otherwise, spontaneity becomes chaos. Without discipline, spontaneity is just distraction. Why discipline alone isn't enough? That said, discipline by itself can turn into rigidity. A well-planned life can become a well-polished cage. You might be productive but bored, structured but uninspired, controlled but disconnected from yourself. If you never allow yourself to deviate from the plan to follow a spark of curiosity or joy, you miss the magic that makes life worth living. The serendipity, the joy of wandering, the creative bursts that don't arrive on a schedule. You need both. A stable ground and the permission to dance on it. So how do you live this way? You don't live half disciplined and half spontaneous. You live fully disciplined so you can be fully spontaneous within that container. You build habits that automate the non-essential so your mind is free to explore the essential. You schedule time for deep work so your evenings can be unstructured and present. You eat clean and sleep well so your energy is high enough to act on sudden creative impulses. You master your craft so your intuition becomes reliable. It's not about balance, it's about integration. Discipline is the engine, spontaneity is the steering wheel. The most alive people aren't the most spontaneous or the most disciplined. They're the ones who made discipline a second skin so they can live in a flow without falling apart. They don't need to try to be spontaneous. Their life is built to allow it. Their time isn't micromanaged, it's well guarded. Their mind isn't reactive, it's clear. Their environment isn't chaotic, it's supportive. Structure gives rise to freedom. Freedom rewards structure. That is the article. And pretty amazing stuff, right? This went very viral on Substack. I'll actually link it in the description down below. Someone shared a quote in the comment section saying, "Learn the rules like a pro so you could break them like an artist." Pablo Picasso. It's very well written, of course. It's intended for a lot of people. I want to say it's intended for myself. If you're watching this video, probably it's intended for you as well. I've never read something so well articulated, so well communicated, where I really understood what they were getting at. Almost like I understood them, they understood me. Like a mentor talking to me and telling me, look, Jared, this dilemma you face of wanting this life and that life, wanting to be disciplined and wanting to wake up at 6 a.m., work really hard, accomplish great things, have that structure, but also wanting to enjoy my 20s, wanting to be out here in the sun and do whatever my heart desires, be curious, not have things so structurally laid out. This article clearly answers that question. And thank God I was able to find this article when I have. Found it a few months ago or something like that. But up until now, it's been a constant back and forth. It's for 1 month, I'm disciplined, super disciplined, or one season, I should say, I'm disciplined, very structured, grinding. But then I get to a point where I just feel like it becomes a well-polished cage, like the article talks about. A well-polished cage, and I'm not able to thrive, right? That's why I say how discipline alone isn't enough. I might be productive, but I might be bored, right? Who else feels that way, right? When you're productive, but you're bored, you're structured, but you're uninspired, you're controlled, but disconnected from yourself. Making a lot of money, let's just say. You're doing well financially. You're doing, your vision board is coming into life. You're buying whatever you want to buy. But you're never allowing yourself to deviate from the plan. And then that's why they say you miss the magic that makes life worth living. Is life worth living if we're just accomplishing our goals? And sure, you could say to yourself, well, once I hit these goals, then I'll start living. What good is that? I don't believe in this once I do this thing. No. We're not guaranteed anything. You have to find a way to make it worth now. Of course you have seasons, okay? Of course there'll be some moments when you'll be way more disciplined or way more spontaneous. But you need to find a way to meet at the intersection of both. That's where true freedom lies, and that's what the article has talked about, right? A lot of people think it's balance, right? This is an illusion. This is something that I don't agree with, but only until recently, this idea of balance, right? Half disciplined or half spontaneous. And half spontaneous. It's trying to, balance at a scale here. But the article doesn't talk about that. It says you need to be fully disciplined first. The discipline is the foundation. It's a structure. It's the Lego pieces that you have to build upon. The corners of the puzzle that you have to place. That way you can fill in the rest, right? You need that structure so you can be fully spontaneous within that container, right? It makes perfect sense. People are wanting the spontaneity before they've really, gotten that foundational structure when it comes down to being disciplined. They think that if I just do a couple habits, I'm disciplined enough, and then I could travel the world and I could work my business, and that was me. This is why it's talking to me, because I thought that as long as I am, 50% disciplined, I could be 50% spontaneous. I could travel the world. I could build my YouTube channel, I could vlog, I could have fun, I could meet new people, I could live in hostels, solo travel, while also at the same time building like a massive business, making a huge impact, changing people's lives, changing my life, focusing on my health, etc., etc., etc. But how can I do that if my habits haven't even been automated yet? The non-essential things I'm still directing my energy to and time to and attention to the point where they're just taking energy from me, and my time is not getting used for me. It's used against me, I should say. And that's why what this article lays out of like scheduling time for deep work so your evenings can be unstructured and present. Isn't that a fantastic way to go about things? Imagine traveling the world, being that person that is living that dream life. But people don't know is that you're still doing the things that other people are doing back home that build your character and grow and allow you to grow. The deep work is still getting scheduled. The early mornings, the journaling, the writing, the meditating, it's all getting done. But you're that person that could be curious, childish, act on sudden creative impulses. Most people can't do both. And I don't agree. A lot of people to this day think it's one or the other. It's like, how do you want to live your 20s? Choose which way. Either go down the route of being these people on Instagram and just traveling the world and their whole life is like centered around like fun and happiness. And I mean, that's great. But those people, you don't know what it is like behind the scenes. You don't know if they're really building something fulfilling, making an impact for others, disciplined. Do they even have any habits? Because discipline actually brings fulfillment. This is what this article didn't talk about. It's a pretty short article, but discipline, the intentionality of things allows you to be fulfilled, right? It allows you to get fulfillment out of staying true to yourself, loving yourself, right? Because discipline, you're loving yourself. You're telling yourself, I love myself so much that I'm going to be doing this, this, and this so I could feel this way. You're not being a slave to your emotions, right? When you're not disciplined, you're being a slave to your emotions, to your passions, to whatever it may be. And it's not about not listening to your passions or not listening to your emotions, but it's about being disciplined enough to telling yourself, okay, well, you know what? This is what I'm doing right now. This is my priority. This is my focus. And then I'll have fun. And then I'll travel the world. And then I'll do whatever I want to do, X, Y, Z, right? Eating clean, sleeping well, so your energy is high enough to act on creative impulses, right? Like we all want to be able to act on creative impulses. That's the beauty of being a human being. We get these different thoughts come up, different inspiration. You don't want to ignore it? Do you want to be so drowned in your business, in the, in the minutia, and things that aren't important, I should say? You have to master your craft so your intuition becomes reliable, right? So you master your craft, but in a sense of you master the things that are going to pull the levers, that are going to move the needle, right? That are going to make the biggest impact. So that way your intuition becomes reliable, not clouded. You don't have intuition, what do you have, right? So that's why they say it's not about balance, it's about integration. How could I integrate it all in my life? Balance is thrown out the window. Balance, did anybody achieve anything great living a balanced life? Probably not. And the people that did achieve great things, you have to look at their lives and audit their lives, because the same way you audit your life has to be the same way you audit their lives, especially people that are currently successful, because they're successful in one area that you want to be successful in. Doesn't mean you have to or you should emulate their lives, because you don't know what it's like behind the scenes. You don't know what habits they have. The habits aren't just about to be successful in one domain. It's about living a fulfilled life and a quality life and feeling good, right? A lot of these people may be very successful in the material side of things and career-wise, but they gave up everything else. They don't have balance either, but they have zero integration too. They just have one area and they have zero intuition anymore. It's super clouded. They're not acting on creative impulses. They're barely traveling, even though they probably could travel more. How many people we know are like this? I know tons of people that are doing pretty well financially, that are quote unquote living the life, but something's missing within them. And I can't answer those questions. I don't know how it is, but I can just tell a lot of times that, there's a lot more that people can do, that people can feel, how people can operate, and how they could really optimize their lives even more. They're so focused on optimizing one domain, physically, in business, whatever it may be. But this is all about how you could eat the cake. Or sorry, how does it go again? Eat the cake. What's the expression again? I just went blank. Have the cake and eat it too. I think that's what it is, right? It's like you get both sides. Have the cake and eating it too, which obviously that expression is how you can't do that. Everyone says you can't have the cake and eat it too, but this is how you can do that, and you can win in every area of your life if discipline is the engine and spontaneity is the steering wheel. Discipline, 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 but also remember to have fun. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. This is probably one of the favorite video I've ever made yet on this channel, because I absolutely love this article, and I'm probably going to come back to referencing it in future videos just because of how much I really resonate with it. And if you enjoyed it, feel free to put a reminder in as well each month to read this article. It's like 5 minutes long, and just a reminder of whatever you're doing to kind of like, I was going to say balance at the scale, but then it goes back to balance, but more so just reminding of how you can integrate this into your lifestyle. Ask yourself, okay, well, is the discipline there? Is the structure there? Am I guided by spontaneity, or am I guided by discipline? Where's the fuel in the tank coming from? How is it starting? How am I turning on my car? Is it with the discipline, with the habits? Am I automating the non-essential in order to then thrive and just like be present and do my hobbies and all that? How am I structuring my life? Because when you read this article, it reminds you of what life can become, how it is possible to be disciplined and spontaneous. Take care. Peace out.